Hello and welcome to Nerdarchy for Nerds by Nerds. I am Nerdarchist Ted, and tonight we're going to be playing some 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. As you can see from the logo up in the corner above my head, you'll see that this game is sponsored by Easy Roller Dice. Check out the link in the description down below. Check out that coupon code to get a discount off your first order. Check out their newly released Dragon Scale dice. They're pretty flippin' awesome. And they're available in a wide variety of colors and, options. So as you can possibly see, I am not in a DM seat. So without further ado, I'm going to toss it over to them and take it away, Robin.
Hello. So welcome to the Old Guard. All of the characters in this game are older adventurers coming back for one last hurrah and solving a murder mystery, apparently. So as per usual, we will go through and do the recap, and as is tradition, we will be beginning with our illustrious producer, Jake. Please introduce yourself, your character, tell us where you're at online and stuff.
Hey internets, it's Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and that's where you can usually find me over on the twitch.tv/Mini Terrain Domain or on youtube.com/Mini Terrain Domain. We stream a bunch of Pathfinder and other role-playing games and D&D with some long-running streams on Mondays. Every other Tuesday, we have Call of Cthulhu once a month on Wednesdays, and on Thursdays you can see Ted over there for our Welcome to Paradise, Michigan Kids on Bikes RPG that takes place in a make-believe Midwestern town in 1980 something, and lots of weird stuff is going down. You can catch all of our VODs over on YouTube. And I am playing, I almost said Parthas Zerg because that's who I'm playing. Something else. That was one of our older games. I am playing Raziel Rune, a ASMR barbarian who doesn't so much get angry as he just gets disappointed as the party dad. And I'll throw it up, Frag.
Hello, I'm Fraginator. You can pretty much only find me here. And I am playing Hasea Jason, the Human Ranger. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's go diagonal down to Carlos.
What is good, internet? My name is Carlos Rivera. I run the Volcanic Knight YouTube channel. That is where you can find me when I am not here, or on Tuesday nights here as well, where we run Vast Grim, where Robin and Ted are my players for that game. So why shenanigans happens there, but to recap a bit of this game, what I remember the most is we kind of like went and investigated a little bit of what was happening. We went to this pretty swanky danky tavern and realized that little serendipity might have been murdered. Kind of interesting plot point, I say myself. And I am playing Klaus Lionflow, a College of Eloquence bard that is totally gonna gaslight you if he gets the chance. And with that, I'm gonna pass it over to Mr. Adams.
Right, so you probably have an idea of who I am, but if not, there's thousands of videos here on the channel that talk about D&D and that kind of stuff, as well as other RPGs. Tonight I'll be playing Gelthor Everell or Erevel. I always mispronounce my my house name, but let's face it, the house that I belong to doesn't exist anymore. So so he is a Tempest cleric, and just recently, after not had powers for many years, just recently got them back. So lots of fun to actually be able to be a cleric and actually have clerical powers. So I know we started off last session, fighting some Pokemon-esque elemental birds before we engaged in, said murder mystery. My still drunk or still hungover self probably doesn't remember much of what's going on, much like Ted in real life, not remembering what's going on because there's a lot that's happened in the time frame between this game and last session. So last but certainly not least is down below me, Asa.
Hello, I am Asa with Roll for Mischief. We stream on Twitch on Tuesdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Pacific time. And that's a fun game. You should check that out if you have a chance. It is still on Twitch. You can watch the last chapter that we've been doing. Here on this game, though, I play I know my character's name is Marcos. I forgot his first. No, it's Tristan. Tristan Marcos. Marcos is the last name. I got half of it right. I was thinking about Simon this week and forgot that I'm not playing that character. My character is Tristan Marcos, a dwarf artificer who, not unlike Ted's character, recently got their class important things back. Their suit of armor that they had been stowing away in their workshop. Simon is their partner, and Serafina, as Carlos mentioned earlier, was their daughter who died, and we might have recently discovered there might be more about that than just her dying unexpectedly. And so upon Tristan telling Simon, "Hey, like I'm going back into the adventuring life. I need to figure out what happened to our daughter. Oh, by the way, I've been stashing all of my armor that I created because I couldn't bear to part with it." Simon just kind of went, "Yeah, I'm not an idiot. I know what you sneak into your workshop to do." And it's excuse the euphemism, but it's not to kill the dragon in 3 rounds. So point being, their partner knows them well, and they are sometimes an idiot. And but Tristan is in a very emotionally vulnerable state. I believe they've already made it clear that they feel very responsible for Serafina's death and kind of feel like it should have been them instead of her. And now that they have discussed some things with the band of orcs, have a mission in mind. They would like to go figure out what happened to their daughter. And I guess that is just me giving it back over to Robin.
So, it was storming when you guys last left off is another thing that I remember from last week, because when Gelthor regained his powers, his goddess, Nerine, sent in the rains. Those rains are picking up now. Lightning cracks and splits the sky, bathing the beige stone of the city in the light. The rain comes down in curtains of silver. Night falls. The contours of Astrid's face are bathed in shadow as she meets eyes with each of you, one at a time. The tipsy flagon, an inn built into a little boat tied off at the docks, rocks beneath you, making shadows ripple like water. None of us saw, and we don't have any proof, but we know it. There's a bonfire on Balta Beach down the coast from here, night after tomorrow. Stay out of sight and just watch what happens. Help us find out what happened to her.
And this was her talking with everyone or specifically with Tristan?
I'm pretty sure all of you were here.
Okay.
Mhm.
I'll kind of adjust my armor a little bit. It'll squeak a little, and I'll say, oh god, I don't remember Tristan's voice, but anyway, I'll say something to the effect of, I'll need some oil, but I can keep quiet.
Promise I'll be as quiet as the proverbial mouse. No worries on my behalf.
I have known some fairly loud mice,
Mhm.
but thank you.
No worries at all. As long as we can catch the culprits and figure out some more information, I think that is the forefront of all of our minds at this moment.
I think it's certainly possible that we'll be able to find some information, but if we go trekking around like we used to, it's not going to be easy to stay unobtrusive.
It's also going to be slower. At least for me, I don't move like I used to.
Well,
Come on, young chap. You can. I've seen you hopping your steps sometimes. You still got it in you.
Now I'm just going to cutting action dash everywhere to.
Shouldn't take a lot of effort to stay hidden outside the circle of fire during a bonfire.
yeah, I mean, the light only goes so far, and everybody's going to be looking at the water anyway.
I say it shouldn't be difficult. Surrounded all of these four.
Should I be
Turns
getting
back-
nervous right now?
Turn back to Reziel. What? You can trust us.
Say tomorrow night or the night after.
Night after.
There's no need for you to be worried. I'll worry. I'll keep everybody in line.
Okay. Well,
Who has
in that
silence
case, I'll
prepared?
meet you after. Me, Bjorn, and Lessa. And she'll give a nod and rise to go, unless somebody stops her.
As she gets up and starts walking out, Gelthor will get to his feet and take a couple of steps with her. Is there any other information that you can share about these folk at the bonfire? Is there any bits of information that you're leaving out?
Well, I know that some of them like to hang out down in Dramtown. You know, where the alchemists are. And I don't know. I don't feel like you hang out where the alchemists are unless you're doing something shady.
Sure. So it's only a suspicion. We don't, this is not a.
Oh, it's not the other people at the bonfire I'm worried about. It's the people that are gonna show up while we're there. They've been doing it every single time we've gotten together lately.
I'm out of practice and I don't know how much my friends are the same. But from what I recall, not everything I do is, shall we say, low impact. And I don't want to hurt the wrong people.
All right, the people that are there
If
with
things-
us. You mean if things get rocky? You don't have
Yes.
to. I mean, we know you're getting on in years. It's all right. Nobody's expecting you to take up arms.
No. All right. And he just kind of like nods and is like, whether she decides to like exit or not, he goes and just takes a moment outside, like looking for where the thunder and lightning are, to just kind of like look up and just smirk at the storm. He spent enough time out in the rain that even with all his gear back on, it's not anything that affects him negatively.
In the distance, it's a sound that only you can hear, but you can hear her laughing, and for once it isn't at you.
And he just lets out, probably the first like real belly laugh in a while. And to the people inside, it's probably a little, WTF moment, because there's no one else around me. As I'm just like laughing up at the sky before I, nod and wring my hair out and come back inside.
And you all find yourself alone in that private room on the Tipsy Flagon.
Yeah, Thor, did you discover anything more we could use? Any other information?
Well, she says
I
that
remember my voice.
the ones to worry about are hanging out with where the alchemists tend to hold shop. You either work there or you're there to cause trouble.
Would that mean anything to me?
You're familiar with Town. It very much is where the alchemists work, which means, that's where all the medicines are coming from. That's where all the potions are coming from. It's also where all the drugs are coming from.
Okay.
Which, if, Seraphine was murdered, if there was a substance involved, this could be another serious connection point.
It only makes sense. She's probably looking into some activity, gang activity or the like, involving drug use, I'm sure. So, right. Well,
And she also said we're only expected to observe and listen. We're not exactly, young anymore, and kind of look over and some of the more physically able among us. And I'm not trying to point any fingers and make any kind of judgments, but it ain't as easy on some of us.
I may not be the strongest here, but or the wisest, or the most intelligent. I'm just reading off the stat sheet at this point. But you know what? We
oh,
have
you're the
hearts.
most charismatic.
We have
So you can't have
hearts.
all dump stats.
May not be the strongest or the wisest or the most constitutional.
I'm definitely not that one.
In fact, I'm probably just garbage, but it's fine.
But we
So
have
in-
heart, god damn it. And we
In
can
my
do
working
this.
with the guards and stuff, would I have any knowledge of the area we're going to through investigating and whatnot?
Go ahead and give me a check.
Okay.
Like history, or if you think something else will work, you can make a case for it.
Oh no, I will do history. I'm sure it'll be
Okay.
great.
Oh God.
12. That's better than I expected.
Actually, you know quite a bit about this area of town. So the alchemists sort of started banding together for the sake of sharing, resources, and they are supplied by guilds in other parts of the city, and basically all have this unionized deal going. So they sort of police themselves. And things that happen in Dramtown tend to stay in Dramtown. So you've got people selling illicit substances openly in some parts of this area of the city, and the guards, they want to do something about this, but they keep getting run out. They've pretty much got a quarter on their little quarter,
All right.
Is this
So-
information that you share?
I was gonna say, so what whatever of that I deem necessary or you guys are interested in, I will share. If you want to know all of it, that's what I said.
Yeah. Like you just stop at the juicy bits,
Right. I paraphrased.
How
I remember
how
drugs.
rampant how rampant is this problem? Does it permeate other sections of town, or is that just where the crappy people go?
Most of the time they do end up going there. But it's also patronized by a lot of adventurers because that's where the potions come from. But yeah, most of the time people will go, they'll find somewhere in Dramtown and they'll just leave inebriated. Of course, it does bleed into other districts at least a little bit. You can't really contain such things, but it's safe. So people tend to stay there.
So are the people making stuff like, is there, oh well, I make potions during the day and illicit substances at night kind of deal? Or is it like, oh no, like these people are, reputable and are fine, and everything that these people over here make are just utter trash?
A little column A, a little column B. Like, there are definitely some people that are only dealing in illicit substances in Dremtown, and then there are those that are just doing legitimate business, and then there are some that deal a little in both.
So I kind of, look, look to the lot. I mean, I'm certainly not one to speak on controlling oneself. And like, he looks around the room, but certainly does not look Raziel in the face. But there's a difference between what's legal and what's not. Perhaps should any of you decide that, once this mystery is done, if we want to knock some heads together in Dramtown, I certainly would like to help fix some of the mess that, well, to be fair, I was a part of for a while.
Question. So I know my role in my, I guess, past life was kind of like a government liaison, and whatnot. Have I heard of any really bad actors in that
Oh, you mean
part of
among the
town?
guards?
More or less among the drug dealers,
Oh, okay.
people we may want to
Oh,
like know of.
yes, absolutely. Like, some of these dens, like, you've got several alchemists banded together, and they've got the coin to hire mercenaries. Like, they police the district themselves. That's why the guards keep getting buffed out. Because they have the resources to arm themselves, and among their number are quite a few casters. Because they're alchemists, they're smart.
If you don't mind, if giving me a tiny bit of agency, could I make
by
up
all
one of the
means.
names?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Please do.
Gentlemen, so we're going into a pretty shady part of town, as we all know. But one fellow we may want to stay clear of is no one knows his real name, but they call him the Airship. He'll get you as high as you need to get.
I love it.
Honestly, it's just a
That is-
Heisenberg ripoff.
Oh,
It
that's
is-
funny. That's very funny.
That is ridiculous.
How bad is the crash?
Look, man. Special juicy guts. Blue moonshine. It will take you to the moon and back. All right, he's gonna. Listen, I'm not saying he's gonna be a threat or a problem, but if we can score some of the blue shine, then hey, it's definitely, as I turn over to Tristan, something worth tinkering with or investigating to figure out the details. Maybe you could use it for like your own sorts of potions and whatnot.
Look, I'm not into this to look for some washed up drug lord or anything like that. I just want to figure out what the hell happened to my daughter.
Of course.
If there are some heads to be knocked around along the way, I'll do it. And I'll be happy for it. But I'm not looking for some side project or profit.
I'm only interested in one head. If it's true that somebody there is responsible for her death, that's the person whose head is getting knocked in. We're not going to solve the drug problem in the city. But we can solve this murder and make whoever's responsible pay. And then I look over at Klaus, and we're certainly not looking to score drugs in this operation.
Of
course not.
That was
Yeah,
your,
you
I
seriously
believe,
not.
that was your exact words.
Not
believe what
necessarily
Klaus
for
was-
recreational use.
I believe what Klaus was looking at was to try and ascertain if a substance that we would obtain from said person matches the substance within Seraphina. Yes.
That
Indeed.
would make sense.
I mean, all information is pertinent. Even stones that we need to forcefully upturn.
We'll see.
All
What
right.
see what we learn
I
at this
take a-
bonfire.
Now I take a look at Klaus and just kind of give you, the eye. Did you mean what I said, or is there some like chagrin or some kind of look that you're like, nah, I wanted the score.
No, I mean,
Basically, I'm inciting you, bitch.
you want you all right if you want to roll my deception. I mean, like,
Well, I mean, are you trying to be deceptive or like, was it legitimately what I said?
okay. Well, I rolled a 33 for my deception, but
Goddamn. Okay.
Who
Well,
knows?
I certainly can't get that good on my
but
insight.
but what happened was like in all wholeheartedness, like the information is pertinent because like one like you mentioned, we don't know what happened with serendipity, and you're right, there are chances that there might have been some foul play in that regard as well. Also, at the same exact time, if it's a potent formula, it can be harnessed for good as well. I'm sorry, not 33, just a 30.
Oh, just
Oh, yeah, just a
that's
30.
so much more reasonable. I rolled a 1 on my insight.
I don't care enough to rule insight. Well, I mean, Tristan doesn't. They take take at your word.
My
You got-
best insight, if I rolled a nat 20, would be a 26. So I certainly could not best you.
You guys
Well,
have.
anyone?
Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say anyone that knows Klaus knows that though he's not afraid of getting his hands dirty, every action is for an honorable outcome.
Yeah, I don't think that Tristan would find out that he's secretly the villain behind his daughter's assassination. Or at least I hope
Man,
not.
what if he was?
What a twist.
You guys have 2 days before that bonfire is to occur. What would you like to spend them doing?
First and foremost, I want to make sure everybody has a well-fitting, like full black cloak, cover, armor and weapons and what have you. I have no coin, so it's pretty much relying on the the party to acquire such things. But Gelthor would suggest such a thing.
Do you guys go along with it?
Oh yeah.
Wholeheartedly.
Yep.
Now, I don't recall. Do we decide that I have actually worked my wheelchair into my armor, or was that something that we were aspiring to do? Because we haven't done that yet. I'd be happy spending the next 2 days in my workshop,
Okay.
setting it up so that I can make my wheelchair become armor and then become wheelchair again. So I have my own Iron Man sort of thing going on.
Okay. Let me see. Give me what does an artificer usually roll to
Intelligence.
Yeah.
Tinker's
Yep.
tools.
Tinker's tools?
Oh, that's the one. Yeah.
Thank you, Ted.
So like Tinker tools or Smith's tools, depending upon what you wanna work with, but both are generally accepted. And then depending upon what specific level of craft you're looking at, whether you then decide to go dex or intelligence, whether it's minute work or intelligent based,
Given that my character is missing 3 limbs, I don't think Dex is going to be one of their strong suits. I definitely built this towards intelligence.
I don't mind you using intelligence. They are your tools. You have worked with them for years. You have collected the things that you need to suit your needs. So
All right. Well, here goes my roll. That is a 5, so that's a total of 8.
okay. And
Well,
then
you
one
still
more.
have proficiency modifier,
Yep.
Oh,
What's that?
unless you're using tools you're not proficient with.
oh, I forgot about the proficiency modifier. Is it a +3 at level 5?
Yeah,
So it'd be not 11.
11.
All right. And then give me one more for the second day.
Okay, where the heck? I wanted to do a different d20, a much better d20. There you are. And of course, I instantly drop it. So it's all gone terribly wrong. We'll
That's the
figure
one that's
something
got
else
two
out.
20s on it.
Fucking got a 20. So that's a 28 or 26. Sorry.
Okay.
So yes, that was my all 20 dice.
You have made some significant headway on this armor project. You figured out how it will slot in. You have figured out how it's going to connect together. The thing that you're having trouble with is how to collapse all of it so that you can take it, and then what you are going to do to distribute the extra weight. So you've got a little bit of logistical issues to work out, but you know it's going to work, and it's very exciting, and that's the part of the project that you're in right now.
Ooh, okay. So like I am full board just like in this artificer tinker mode, and I don't even realize like when the time frame for the bonfire is coming up. So when you guys get to that point, you're gonna have to like literally pull me away from my project. I also haven't eaten all day.
Rude. Oh, no, Simon will make sure you eat.
Oh, okay.
He knows how you get.
Good.
First in events nanotech.
So
Right.
that first night when we all depart,
Mhm.
does anybody like say anything, or do we all go our own ways? What is everybody's plan? Obviously, we know where Tristan goes.
I'll be spending time with a seed. And
Hey,
if he's
Seed.
willing and if he's willing to like I guess join up with me.
Hey, seed is what I call him.
A seed? Oh my bad.
Everyone's wrong. It's fine. He's used to
Yeah.
it.
But I'm doing it on purpose, except for the first time when I did it on accident. Just went with it.
I mean, if he's willing to indulge a little quick venture into the underground world just for intel gathering
Of course.
purposes.
Let me talk to Gelthor first, real quick, before we leave, though.
Absolutely.
So I just go over to Gelthor and say, I don't know anything about clothes or shopping or whatever you were talking about earlier, and I just hand you 10 gold and walk off.
You
like-
know what?
I'll take care of the clothing, and I take the 10 gold out of Gelthor's hand.
He easily carts it off.
10 gold's a lot of booze, man.
So
I am prompt to give my
once everybody
measurements.
decides to kind of to depart and what have you, I don't remember the name of the tavern that Gelthor has been kind of bunking at for the last little while. But he's gonna go up to the bartender, who's probably developed some kind of
Muscle memory.
rapport. No, like rapport, some kind of, whether it's pity, whether it's something that started off with I acknowledge what you did, even if it was decades ago, what have you. Um, it might have started there and went to pity or whatever have you. Um, but I imagine, like you're thinking, like I walk up to the bar, and he's probably shocked that I'm like, in nicer looking stuff, but he has the drink ready, and I wave him off. I've got a more important favor to ask of you, and you've already given much.
And he pauses, and he's standing on a stool to like do the polishing of the glasses and the mixing of the drinks because Briar Barrow is a halfling. And he kind of leans against the bar and gives you an odd look because this is a first. All right, I'll bite.
Now,
What have you got?
I doubt that any sane person would ever ask so fine a tender, but forevermore I wish you to deny me.
As you like.
I will find a way to make up for all the trouble I've caused, because I know I've not been easy.
You've made for some interesting nights.
I won't deny that. And he'll just like he'll flex the ring, and his well-crafted spear will just appear in his hand, and he'll just kind of like tap the butt on the ground before it conjures back, and his wings will just kind of like stretch out a bit, and he'll stand as tall as he can, not as like a intimidating or whatever have you, but usually when this guy sees Gelthor, it's usually huddled over or passed out drunk.
Gelthor,
you know
you haven't got yourself in any trouble, have you?
I don't know, but
Well,
things are moving again, and I want you to know that should something happen that I was not expecting, that the last 5 years have been hard for me, and you've been not only a thorn in my side, but the one who has kept me alive, and it will be remembered.
just try to keep yourself safe out there.
I will try. And then he's just gonna go fly around in the storm for a while.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, it continues to rage for the entirety of those 2 days before it finally starts to peter out. I imagine you probably don't stay out the entire time, but it is there for when you want to.
I mean, like he probably comes back to the tavern because he still doesn't have, a regular job, and he probably does still work for this guy on occasion. But I imagine there's some time in there that some regulars who are used to harassing him, and some regulars who are used to buying drinks to hear some of the old tales, even if it is to laugh at him, like see a different side. And
Oh
he
yeah.
still helps out and still does the things that he does to scrape a few coppers together. Uh, but when everybody is agreed to meet, Gelthor will be there ready to go.
Klaus,
Yes.
what do you spend the 2 days doing?
I'm with I see it.
All right. What are you two up to?
Well, my original proposal was to traverse the underground of the city to gather as much all information as I possibly can, because knowledge is power, and the more we don't run into some sort of shady nonsense, the better. And I figured our ranger could help in such a stealthy operation.
Sure.
Um,
I know how to stealth.
see, discretion and anonymity is going to be our greatest weapons, so we can come back to our friends. Okay.
Sounds like a plan.
I know the city like the back of my hand, and as long as we keep subtle about details, we'll be perfectly fine. Also, don't let them try to intimidate you back. All right, buddy?
Let's go.
I don't know where the hell I'm going, but I'm totally acting like I do. And we go into kind of like an alleyway nearby one of the less reputable bars, trying to find an individual that may look like he has drunken a little bit too much. That looks like he's gonna give up information as easily as possible without starting too much of ruckus.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's not hard to find in this part of town. There is an orcish gentleman who is just like leaned over a barrel with his arm above his head, just like hurling, and his braids are like all down the side of his face, and he's just not in good sorts. This gentleman.
Oh Lord. Sir, it looks like you seen better days. Like, kind of pat his back to kind of help him out. Release was coming out of his body and whatnot. Huh. Can I offer you a drink of water to help clear out your throat, perhaps?
And he's gonna like turn his head and give you the filthiest look. Like, just like if he could kill you with his stare.
You know what? I totally intimidate back.
All right, let's go.
Just to kind of like, got almost like a pose off, if you will.
Give me an intimidate check.
I rolled an 18.
All right, so so did he. So
Damn
you
it!
are just eye to eye and inch from each other's faces, just staring daggers, and it is very tense. And there are two options here. There is look away or get into a physical altercation. What do you do?
I coyly say, trying to let him know that we meet him. No, damn, I brought you for my muscle, my guy. Muscle me up.
I cocked my crossbow.
Oh. All right, you make an intimidate check now, unless you want to give your companion advantage. Was that the help action, is what I'm asking?
That's the help action, yeah.
Okay,
that would be way better. Because the chances of me rolling a 19 or higher on the die, not great.
My dude is nothing but charisma. That's it. Okay, so that's a lot better. That's a 25 total.
Okay, so he looks at that crossbow and then back to you, and he eases down a little bit, and he's like, "What do you want?"
Sir, we mean no disrespect. In fact, if you can help us out a bit, I mean, I'm willing to pay for your next drink as well.
Oh, I'm done for the night. Ale and winches.
I know. Well, do you know about a particular bonfire that happens late at night? By any chance?
What kind of a bonfire are you talking about?
So although Carlos totally has information kind of vague, I think Klaus knows the information better than I do, but what I'm gonna say is like every evening there's a fire where a group of sort would gather up of the chemical persuasion.
He puts his hand on your shoulder. Where? Like, the question is, do you tell him where?
I make indication of where where one may catch a good fish.
Yeah, he's just kind of staring at you like he has no idea what you're talking about, but give me a perception check.
Ooh, that's something. Can I be watching too?
Yes, please. You can go ahead and make it with advantage because you're not talking to the guy.
Thank goodness. That's gooder. 27.
Yeah, you see a half elf kind of leaning around the corner and watching the pair of you, and you wouldn't have noticed him if you didn't know what to look for, but you are definitely being watched and spied on by a man in a red vest.
Does the red vest mean anything to me?
No, not in particular.
Okay.
I mean,
I wasn't
no.
sure if it was like a uniform or.
Well, it might Klaus.
Okay.
So I'm engaged in conversation. Does a seed indicate any sort of things?
I would put my hand on your shoulder and whatever opposite from the guy, so that at least your head's in between us. I would just whisper, half elf, round corner, red vest.
Well, you know what? I'm sorry, I might have mistaken you for somebody else, but you have a great night, sir.
Do you want me to kill him?
No. Let's just walk away.
And he's like, he is not intimidated at all. He's just like, just staring daggers at you. Like, if it's gonna come down to you actually shooting him, he's gonna face it down and he's not gonna flinch.
As we walk past, next time.
And he just kind of nods at you, like, just that little bit of respect there before he goes back into the bar to go find some water and hydrate.
So there's nothing particular about that gentleman's uniform that I knew about, or nay?
I mean, you are tracking one Red Lucas.
Right. I'm gonna charisma check myself if I see if I lose my shit. No, I'm Gucci. So although my veins are boiling for a second, almost like you see Klaus calm, collected for the most part, but this is the first time you can see him almost get flustered. If a negotiator's job is to like keep information to his chest, I almost have it written all over my face as I proceed walking down, just getting my bearings again.
So you know this half elf?
One of Lucas's men. I think we should head
Split up
back.
and find him?
Splitting up may not be the wisest choice, but we do need to get out of here as fast as possible.
You're the boss.
If we make it out of here, sure.
Give me a survival check.
Both of us, or
I got 21.
I got a 6.
Hasid, you know these streets far better than this half-elf, apparently, because you've lost him in moments.
The human too, or just the half elf? Klaus is human.
Oh, okay. Were you trying to lose Klaus?
No.
I rolled a 6.
No,
but
you're
because
not
his was so bad, I wasn't sure he'd keep up.
That's funny. No, he does.
Okay.
You guys stick together. You're just pretty much calling the shots on where to turn and where to go. And it doesn't feel like that long before you guys are safe and walking along a cobbled street with a railing overlooking the water.
So I feel like even though I'm calling the shots, I would be trying to make it seem like he's calling the shots. And anytime he wants to go a wrong direction, I'd be like, "Are you sure you didn't mean this one? Based on where we are," kind of a thing to keep him in control of the situation rather than myself.
Wow. What a Chad. That's totally a Chad move.
It absolutely is. I can't
That is
disagree.
That is a Chad move, man. When we eventually, hopefully, find a moment of respite, I will definitely thank you for helping me keep my head on my shoulders and my mind in my brain, my mind in my head, for a brief
I would
moment.
I would have been a
Um,
poor companion had I let you be decapitated.
See, went through so much, and it's almost trying. It's almost it's easy to forget. You know, we work better as a team. I'm happy you came along.
Had a good time.
Uh, let's try to get some rest, I suppose.
I just like dry
Honestly,
clothes at this point.
honestly, Klaus may not get a full night's rest because he's just thinking about.
Oh man, when you keep
That's
crawling out of
all.
your coffin like one more thing because you're just that mad at someone. Yes. I understand. I have lived there many nights myself.
almost like I almost even if I do catch a moment to sleep, I'm kind of reliving the moment for a second, you know, like almost waking up, pulling a dagger out, like humbug, and going back to bed.
And you keep trying, at no point do you get up.
I don't think I would have a full night's rest.
Okay.
This first night. I feel like shit when I wake up.
And Raziel.
I go back home to my humble dwelling.
Yurik nods you by.
Behind the thing, but actually, I'm going to talk to him again.
Okay.
And I'm going to.
You notice almost immediately that he's got a busted lip.
Do I want to know?
I'll let you know if it becomes a problem.
Try not to let it become a problem.
I always do.
Need you to do something.
All right.
I need some cloaks. Holocaust cloaks. Okay. 5.
All right.
And I hand him the 10 gold.
This is way more than you're gonna need for 5 cloaks. I mean, unless you want them like, you know, the mottled shades of gray that you can hide better in.
I'm thinking more. What I don't want is I don't want you going down to whatever the equivalent of Spirit Halloween is and getting 5 identical, you know, black cloak costumes. I want a variety, grays, blacks, something that won't be conspicuous for people to be wearing, but will be especially not conspicuous in low light conditions. The extra gold is to accommodate that and to make sure that nobody asks questions.
Ah, I got you. And he nods.
And then I will go set him loose, and then I will go back into my place and thinking about everything that's transpired and where we are planning, some of the places that we may have to go, the people we might have to deal with. Yeah, sometimes pummeling somebody about the head and shoulders will get you what you want, but in a town like this and in places like that, money talks. Or money doesn't talk. I'm gonna go to corner of the kitchen where there's probably a bin of potatoes, but it's not got a lot of potatoes in it. It's mostly got like dirty laundry in it, but it's a heavy wooden, like a barrel that's been cut off.
Mhm.
And kind of just, I'm in the privacy of my own home, but I'm still kind of doing a little surreptitious look around, and I will pull that barrel out and lift up a section of the floor, and I imagine Raziel Rune is a person that in their adventuring life before didn't have a whole lot of need for extravagant things. I mean, look at where he lives. So what I'm imagining is hidden under the floorboard is a chest that has, he's like Ron Swanson. He's just scrolled away gold and whatever other thing, maybe a few gems, stuff like that. Nothing, I'm not thinking like anything game breaking or anything like that, but just, it's something that he's going to dip into just to grab a little bit of extra money, if you'll allow it.
Absolutely.
To have on hand, whatever, probably the whatever the equivalent of small denomination is. So, you know, digging in for coppers and silvers and handful of gold, just to have some money for greasing palms and either getting people to talk or getting people to shut up.
Yeah, I feel like that's more than reasonable. You guys were adventurers before, and we all know adventuring, it pays. It's very dangerous, but it pays. So that is more than reasonable.
Other than that, I'd be waiting waiting to receive my goods, and I imagine probably spending some days, since it's the facade of this market, maybe even while he's out doing his thing, uh sitting in the booth, maybe smoking a pipe, and appearing to ignore anybody. Well, just keeping my ears open and my eyes open, for any buzz that might be.
All right. So things in your district of town, you know, they're generally pretty quiet and people around here like it like that. There's a good reason for it. People who disturb the peace learn very quickly that it is not appreciated. Um, every once in a while a guard will wander through and everybody gives them the stink eye and they do not stay very long. Um, at a certain point, there is a cloaked figure, very slight in build, that wanders up to your counter. And you can tell she's young, you know, like maybe 14. And not wearing any shoes, and she kind of peeks underneath this hood, and she's got a piece of paper in her hands and passes it over to you, and she said, "Someone told me you could help."
I reluctantly, as I kind of tap out the burnt ash from the pipe and stow the pipe, I take this note and kind of just do that thing where I'm looking at this note, but I'm glaring at her.
All right. It's a notice. Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, somebody may have told you wrong. See.
So it's a script from a priest. And it's just a note that the temple that this girl was staying at is closing, and he doesn't know where else to send her. There still to this day are not too many places that are safe for a young Azamar. And she's going to be on the street otherwise. He doesn't know what else to do. And this is a priest that you've spoken to a couple of times, one that has, you know, been familiar with you and kept your secrets.
I take the note, I look at the girl, kind of look skyward. That's also directed at you, Robin. Uh, I look at the girl. You talk.
Yes.
Don't.
Several languages. Oh,
Sorry. You can talk to me. I mean, do you talk?
you mean to other people?
Can you keep a secret?
Yes.
Should imagine so. And I just kind of reach slowly towards the cloak and just kind of just do that kind of lift up to get a good look at her eyes. And
Oh, they are very obviously gold.
you clean?
I think so.
No. Can you clean?
Oh, yes.
I don't care how clean you are. You should see the people I hang out with.
From across town, I take offense to that.
It was directed at you. It was directed more at Gelthorpe. Can you cook?
A little bit. I only really had what we had in the monastery to work with, and it was never much.
Good, then this should be familiar for you. You handle currency exchanges?
No, I've never handled coin before.
Okay. Are you a good listener?
Yes.
I take another look at the note. All right, come with me. And I will hold the partition sort of off to the side, and bring her into the house. And basically, I'm going to show sympathy or compassion without being too soft. Given that she is ASMR, and I think I would, because most of the time I wear these sort of small round spectacles that hide my own luminous eyes. Once we're inside, probably the first thing I would do would be to take off the glasses so that she can see my eyes. For now.
And she nods her understanding. I'm sorry, I'm getting lag.
Yeah, I had a
Okay.
low bandwidth for a moment.
Okay. What were you saying?
I was just gonna say, for now, you can stay here, stay out of sight. Wash some dishes, cook some food.
Do you have any books?
You know what? I'm gonna roll to see if I have any books. I don't know if I'm a reader.
Okay.
10 and over, I'm a reader. 13. I've got some books that are probably, I imagine there's a I have to kind of lift. I walk around the house lifting up random bits of clothing and stuff and moving a little box here and there until I find a small shelf, probably about the size of an end table, where there's maybe a half a dozen or so books. I probably never read them, and they were probably all given to me as gifts, or maybe they looked like they might one day be valuable or something like that. So I just kind of, spotting it, I kick the box aside and I knock yourself out.
Give me an insight check.
Okay. These
are not religious texts. These are not books that she has ever seen before, and she is very excited to get started reading them.
All I ask, is stay out of my way. Do what I say. Stay out of sight for now. In the middle of something, I will let. I totally forgot his name. Yurik. I will let him know. What is your name?
Oh, Never S.
It's getting better. I know what it's like. Have to stay hidden. In the worst of time. Look how old I am. I'm still here.
Okay.
Out of curiosity, how does she react when Raziel takes off his goggles?
There's a little gasp there. She wasn't forewarned.
And there's kind of this awkward moment where I'm just kind of looking around at my place, suddenly very aware of how filthy it is. And I kind of just I don't really know how to deal with a kid, so I've got to do things, and I just give her this like head tousle.
That's perfect.
And then awkwardly I will go back out to where I was sitting waiting for Yerk to come back. But I imagine the whole time I'm sitting out there continuing to wait on stuff, my attention is now divided. Not sure, I'm listening to see if I can hear if she's doing anything. You know how it is when you suddenly have a child under your charge, whether your own or somebody else's, all of a sudden you're like, what was that sound? Did they do something wrong? Or wait, I don't hear anything. Is that a good thing?
No, that's the worst. Yeah. So give me a perception check.
Yeah. That is a natural 1 for a total of 5.
Yeah,
Quit
you can't
stealing
hear
my die
a
rolls.
thing that's going on in there. Just silence. She's probably reading.
I'm gonna. In fact, that's what I say as I'm kind of cocking an ear and I don't hear anything. She's probably reading. And
So,
yeah.
Yurik comes back around the time that the sun is setting, and he's got an armload of cloaks, and he starts setting them out, and he's like, there's this consignment shop that people just, there's all kinds of stuff there, but nothing is made to match, and I thought, these would be in your budget and wouldn't attract attention. And they do not, in fact, attract attention, although one of them is a bit fur-lined and will be very hot.
Okay. Tomorrow morning, I need you to watch someone for me.
Okay.
I need you to keep an eye on her when I'm away. Keep her
Sure.
busy. Teach her how things work around here.
Okay.
But
Mm-hmm.
keep her out of sight as much as possible.
All right.
And see if you can find another pair of these. Something similar, but smaller. Or, I don't know, measure her head or whatever you have to do.
Okay. Give me an insight check.
She thinks it's your illegitimate daughter.
Gosh. It's another. I rolled a 3, so I got a 4.
Okay. All right. Yeah, he does not look nervous in the slightest, or like he doesn't know how to use a tape measure.
He's gonna do
You
one
have
of,
every
he's-
confidence that he can do this.
He's gonna do one of these. about this big.
That's
and
how I
I
do
mean,
it.
since there's like 2 days involved here, I will you said it was at dark. I'm not gonna introduce them tonight, but the next day I will introduce them and basically kind of give him some overall guidelines. He knows what I want him to do, and it's basically, hey, I've taken on another a kid that I want to keep out of trouble and give him something to do.
So the very first thing he does is insult her, and she immediately dishes one back, and then they start doing that, and they're friends instantly.
I don't know if I don't know if that's a good thing or not. But I also feel a little bit of comfort that if the two of them are getting along, that hopefully this will be okay.
So, the 2 days pass and all of you reconvene. Where have you decided to meet one another? Also, Treston isn't there.
Nope.
We probably would have known that was going to happen and decided to meet at Treston's.
I like the sound of that, yes. I feel like Simon would have sent a missive if you guys didn't remember, but why would you not remember? You have known this man for a long time.
When I get tinkering.
So, all right, Simon greets you all and sets out like just a little tea spread. It's got cheese and crackers, just being a good host. It's very important to him, and he then mostly leaves you alone. He does come in every now and then and ask if you want anything to drink, because he's, gotta make sure. He just has to know. But for the most part, you guys have the room to yourselves.
Just to
Just
be
kinda-
polite, I eat one cracker.
I just grunt
Should be
when you come
fairly
in.
straightforward.
Sorry, Gelfar?
This should all be fairly straightforward, right? We observe, we see what information we can gather, and we report back, right?
Should be, hopefully. I'm normally not to make a mountain out of a molehill, but there is a possibility. Red Lucas might be interested in our group. And if not interested, at least keeping tabs on us.
Who is Red Lucas?
Red Lucas?
I think he may have been
First,
drunk
he's
when
been
you told
tracking
him
down
about
for a
that.
while, something like that.
Anytime any mention comes up, whoever's with him just has to be like, I have no idea who that is. We just play off that it's a figment of his imagination and he's effing losing it.
Yes.
Oh, Tristan totally rattles off like who it was, as though because at some point he did listen to Klaus,
Oh.
and he's too distracted in what he's doing to be like, oh yeah, we got to play this off like a joke.
I just go
At
up
the
and
sight of-
slap Tristan in the back of the head.
At the sight of you saying who's Red Lucas, it's almost like Klaus is almost like, dog, we talked about this. And then like Tristan chimes in like, yeah,
2 days sober off of a 5-year bender.
fair.
I'm gonna
Can you call it a bender if it's 5 years?
That's more of a lifestyle at that point.
Right.
All right, well,
Yeah.
hey,
I'm gonna
hey,
we'll look up at all you. So I just noticed you're here and go, oh, Hasty, you let Simon know I need another cup of coffee.
There is a coffee sitting in front of you.
It's cold.
Okay.
I go take a drink and spit it out.
there is a hot one next to the cold one. It was literally just delivered. Simon is standing on the other side of you.
I was going to say, I totally see Simon as being the one who, no matter whether or not he drinks them or not, Simon comes out, takes the cold one away, and puts the hot one down.
He brought the
Yes.
hot one with all of you as you all came in like 5 minutes ago, and just like couldn't get to the cold one because Tristan was in the way.
I don't know if Simon is a spellcaster or not, but I imagine he goes into the back and just like precipitates the things that heat it up a little bit.
I was just gonna ask in our group chat if I specified Simon's class. I do believe he's a cleric, and I do believe he would also probably know the message spell. That's how he gets to communicate with Tristan half the time.
Nice.
You know what? If it's what works for the two of you, that's adorable. So.
It works quite well.
You've got an arcane intercom.
Right.
Just coffee is on the way, is what he sends sometimes.
Yeah. But in either case, it might make things slightly bit more complicated. We may want to keep our eyes peeled and make sure nothing sneaks up on us while we're out there.
It is indeed why we do the things that we do. You can make all the plans in the world, but there's no guarantee that anything is going to just go the way we want.
Never does.
Now that I'm engaged in the conversation, I'm going to say, what's the complication?
Red Lucas, get a night.
Who?
See
Who?
at this point, Klaus is realizing you guys are just fucking with him.
Is he? I think he needs to roll.
Okay. I'll insight.
I gotta roll deception.
I'm doing the dad thing where
7.
when your kids are razzing each other, you don't say anything, you just let it happen.
Oh,
I got a
nat 20 on my deception. That's a 21.
I got a 21.
Oh, I think that goes to you.
No,
means
I
roll-offs, right?
I would say rock paper scissors.
All right.
Like no.
Oh, that doesn't work well on screen very well.
All right, so you
I'll
guys,
give it to you.
We gotta let this play out a little longer.
you guys are just having a moment where you're looking at each other, and it's like you guys are bros, and like. You know, it's like you are serious, you're not serious. It doesn't really matter if you're serious or not because there's a vibe and you guys both just passed the vibe check. So
Yeah.
Oh man, that's pretty mean. But yeah, in either case, he's kind of like, no, you told me. Always like, and yeah, even a seed saw gentleman that was tailing us for a while.
Well, let's hope they can't see us. And I will throw a duffel bag down on the floor at everyone's feet. There's something in there for all of you. Take whatever fits.
Are they Holocaust cloaks? Is
no,
this
they're
Princess
they're
Bride
assorted
moment?
they're assorted cloaks that he basically got from Goodwill.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
just it's like I went into or Yurik went into Goodwill and bought everything that was gray, black, and dark brown.
Yeah.
I feel like unless someone else claims it, Hasaid will claim the fur-lined one since my constitution's so low. I'll need it to keep warm.
Thank you. I assumed the fur one was going to be left over, and I was going to have it. No, because I'm only going to take whatever's left, but I just let you guys all
take
pick
what
through.
fits.
I'll take whatever's the most fashionable in that pile.
Oh,
It might be. I'm pretty
what's
sure it's all
fashion?
garbage. But it's
Is
just,
Klaus the kind of person that can make anything work?
the best
think
you are going to get is the least obtrusive.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say, given the nature of how Klaus probably dresses, the contrast of like the one that's like more ruddy brown probably makes the outfit pop and just works.
House gets the poop cloak.
I'm sorry, I was talking on mute. I think in this case, since Klaus knows like this discretion is pertinence, he's not looking to pop per se, but be inconspicuous. But if anyone was to see him, he'd be like, "Yeah, he knows how he's dressed," you know.
Play it
Kinda-
off like you meant that.
Yeah.
So I know Gelthor would probably grab the gray one.
I guess I don't know how to take. Well, what are the two that are left then? Right?
You guys have just been making up descriptions
Yeah,
for most
it's-
of these,
it's-
so
Oh,
feel free to
okay.
only
describe
thing-
what your cloak looks like within parameters.
The only thing Robin described was one of them was fur lined.
Yes, that is
Oh, see,
all I gave
the-
you.
The fact that everyone had described things so well, I went, did I miss something?
No,
Okay.
no, you guys
Wait.
are just ad-libbing like champs.
Perfect. Well, mine is a patchwork cloak that has been very clearly like just poorly seamed several times.
I love that.
It is exactly what I think Tom Maryland's cloak looks like in Wheel of Time.
As a matter of fact, give me a straight D20 roll for happenstance.
11.
Okay. Yeah, there is one patch on this cloak with a picture on it of a rowboat for some reason.
Yes.
I thought that's where you were going.
Is that the one that floats his boat?
Oh, it absolutely floats my boat. I only have one boat to float though.
All right, Raziel, what is the cloak that is left?
The one that's left is it's a very threadbare but I guess the equivalent in this world of army surplus. It's like a guard's rain cloak, you know, that they would have when they're on a particular detail, and they need to keep it's expected they're going to be out in the weather. So the equivalent of like army surplus dress overcoat, pea coat or whatever, but in robe form.
Yeah, I dig that. All right. So, you know, it's starting to be sunset. The shadows are stretching long across the ground. It's about the time that a bonfire would get started. Balta Beach is not far from where you guys hang out around Tristan's house and the Tipsy Flagon. You know, you go down a little ways and you can even still see the flagon in the distance from where this bonfire is being set up. There are trees, you know, a bit of the dock sort of moves overhead because this place is buried in water during high tide. But right now it's pretty dry, and these kids, I mean, they're not even really kids, they're just young enough that they feel like kids. These younger adventurers are all getting together to share a night of drunken revelry, hopefully. There's an air of anxiety about them all. Go on.
I've recently oiled my armor, so it is very quiet.
All right. Give me stealth checks.
Yeah, I have. Wait, I have advantage because of infiltrator and disadvantage because of the type of armor it is. Is that how that works?
Cancels each other out.
Cancel.
Okay, I thought that was the intention of armor. I could have been wrong. Ooh, so that is a 18 because
Okay.
I rolled a 19 and I have a -1.
Press, what did you do? You either nat 20'd or you nat 1'd, which was it?
Not Uno.
Okay.
The grand total is 4. So I'm certain. But damn.
Weren't you the one who was like, I can be quiet?
Oh, these younger blood adventurers notice you immediately, and it's less that motions you guys over. They don't see all of you, but they do see some of you, and I'm not going to tell you which is which. Some of you probably know, some of you are going to have to guess.
I think what happens is like as I'm trying to make my approach. The knees, the joints in my knees start popping. Like,
A
I'm
I'm
walking
not
cart.
used to, I'm certainly not used to, walking around in armor. Still getting used to that aspect. Um, so I'm blaming it on that. So I would go up with Klaus, and yeah, I'm being obvious, so might as well.
yeah. Yeah. So
So yeah, there's Astrid, Bjorn, and the halfling Lessa that were the adventuring companions of Serapeth, and then there are a couple of humans, a couple of elves, and one tiefling that are all just kind of hanging around the fire with them, and they, all nod to you guys. They offer you the jug that they've been passing around.
Is it
You
blue?
know, what?
I said, is it blue?
Sure. Was that a
I,
reference to something that I'm missing? I'm sorry.
Klaus's blue shine or whatever.
Oh,
so
what
sorry.
what kind of tiefling? Winged or not winged?
all of them are winged in the city.
Okay.
If you find one that does not have wings, it's likely to be because of amputation or
Birth defect.
yeah, that too.
Does the winged tiefling have any kind of insignia visible?
Yes, actually. It's just a patch on his vest, but it's House Lurian, the centipede.
And where does that currently rank?
They are still in power in an odd kind of way. They're not, I mean, like, none of the old families really have much sway in what's going on in the city, but they are still quite wealthy and influential in that regard, and Lurian is doing well for itself.
So
And
I'll go ahead.
oh, I was going to say, you know also that not all of the pies they have their thumbs in are above board.
Okay. So I'll just kind of like, as we join the gathering, I'll kind of like, sidle up to the tiefling, just kind of examining the fire, making it seem like, I'm just picking a place at random and see if they choose to engage with me or not.
And he'll look over and sort of give you a nod, and he's gonna be like, "What brings you down here? And haven't I seen you before? Aren't you that old man from the Shady
Who you
Glade?"
calling old?
If you've been down that way, then yeah, you've probably encountered me a time or more.
And he nods.
And, even late in life, it can be a time when you decide to make a change in life. It's kind of been beaten into me recently, and here I'm just kind of out and about, seeing what the world is like, not through a haze. What about yourself?
Huh. Well, there's a lot of people in my family, and distinguishing yourself isn't particularly easy. This is lucrative work, and I've got the skills to do it.
What if you don't mind my asking, what do you do?
Um, you know, he proceeds to partially draw a sword. He doesn't draw it all the way because in this city, at least in polite society, to draw a weapon means that you intend to use it. He just shows you that he has it and then slides it back into its scabbard.
Was it a short blade, long blade? What kind of?
It's a fairly long blade, one that would take 2 hands to wield.
Okay.
I'm pretty good with it.
How long have you been practicing the art?
I mean, around since I could walk. I know not everybody is that advantage, but it's a skill, and it's one that I can use to do some pretty good things. So I'm more than willing to ply my trade that way. It's a good one to belong to.
So given, the conversation, I don't know what skill or skills you would like me to roll, but
Okay.
I'd like to get a sense of the person, in his words. So like I imagine that's kind of insight, but I
Yeah,
also
give me
want to
insight.
look at his bearing, how he's holding himself, how he's dressed.
So give me both insight and investigation.
All right. All right. So insight's going to be a 19.
Okay, and
Investigation,
investigation?
I'm not quite as good at. It rolled off the 19 onto a 3, so that's a 5.
Okay. Well, you don't need to get a very high roll to notice that the patch bearing his family's insignia is a little bit off-colored and designed in a variant way. And that is likely because he's not welcome to use it. You are talking to a bastard, but one that has been very well educated, and he likely doesn't stand to inherit much. He is very much making his way in the world, but he also seems to care on some level that he's doing good for people, so, adventurer, not mercenary.
Okay. Now, we're still in city proper, right?
You're right on the outskirts around the docks, so it is considered part of the city. It is part of Armistice, but it's not, around a lot of people.
So I'll depending upon how other people are reacting and whatever have you, um, I'll kind of bring up like, well, we're not around anymore, but I certainly remember the times of growing up with others of my kin. And should uh should you wish to spar and show off, mind you, I'm not nearly as young as I used to be. And I just kind of like, well, finger the peace bond ring. Uh, I'd love to see what they're teaching kids these days.
And he grins a little bit, and he's like, "All right, you're on, old man."
So I will, as I had done in the bar, 2 nights ago. Um, it's kind of like, just spin the ring on my finger, and just as I move my hand down, the spear just manifests into my hand, and I take a couple steps back.
All right. And so he will draw and stand at the ready and give me initiative.
Sure.
For those of us who are stealthed, are we far
Yes.
enough back that we can hear this kind of conversation? Because if I'm just watching,
No, you can. Oh no.
Well, they would have to be close enough because the idea was we were supposed to observe
Oh
and
yeah. Okay. So
listen.
yes.
listen.
Yeah.
Okay.
You've got an idea that this is not.
Okay, I can hear the
unfriendly.
conversation clear enough that I know that they're sparring. They're not actually like fighting.
And you would see like there's a smile on Gelthor's face. He's not like like grimacing as in like, oh, you're gonna die. So that is a dirty 20 for initiative.
Yeah, like
Okay.
even then, at the same exact time, you don't see Klaus getting his feathers ruffled, if you will, So
Yeah, okay. Nobody else is like getting worked up. So all right, cool.
Gelthor goes first.
So I was looking to not try to do a full on combat here and eat up time,
Okay.
but however you want to do this.
Just trust me.
All right, sure. All right, so I'll lunge in. Um, and basically I'm trying to like go for a thrust that's actually a feint, and I'm gonna try and you know, pull the butt of the spear and like go for his leg. Um, so that's only gonna be a 12.
Okay. So he will move to the side of you and sort of slash at your back, but he's aiming with the backside. He's not really trying to cut you. He
Sure.
does make contact, and as you turn to face him, you see a figure coming down the slope. A half elf in a red vest.
Damn it.
Am I the only one that sees this?
No, everybody else sees this too.
Klaus, who is
Not
that?
your sparring partner, but all of your companions see him.
Immediately, I have to reach for my rapier. Like, not actually drawing, but like instinctually, just kind of like putting my hand on it, getting
Yeah.
getting my wits about myself again to remembering this is a stealth operation, and what I'm about to do is not very stealthy.
Yeah, I'll draw my pistol and I will it's like a 6-shooter thing, so I'll like open up the chamber and stick 6 bullets in it, and they all sort of like have glowing tips and have a lightning bolt that I've personally carved into like the casing.
All right, so you guys are ready.
Mm-hmm.
I would
'Cause-
like to hide.
Go for it. Aren't you already stealth? Was that a
Always.
joke? Okay. Frags. All right, so he walks down the embankment and toward this bonfire. He pays no mind to Gelthor and no mind to Klaus as he walks up to Bjorn and sort of presses fingertips into his shoulders and gives just a little push. And this half elf is not nearly the size of Bjorn. There is some audaciousness going on here between the two of them. And he's like, your payment's past due. And Bjorn is just kind of grumbling at him and giving him this look like he's possibly going to bite him, but Astrid sort of like reaches out and puts a hand on his chest, and she's like, "Oh, we've got this, it's fine." And actually goes to pay this man. What do you do?
Oh Lord. You know what? I'm gonna say in Elvish. I guess, even trash collectors come out at night.
And he'll
I don't know if anyone else in the area speaks Elvish, but that's just what I'm saying.
turn over his shoulder to look at you. And he's gonna be like, speaking a language that not everyone speaks in mixed company is rude.
You know what I said.
So is
That's
face.
what you said.
Don't I know you? And he starts walking over to you now.
Listen, I'm not sure if you know who I am or not. I mean, I just have one of those faces.
One of
You
those
know.
faces.
Yeah.
And he sort of walks up, and he's actually going to like reach out and try to grab your chin to like turn your head to the side.
Hello for a moment, because it's kind of like a game of like chicken bravado, and I'm gonna try not to flinch first. So I allow him.
You're probably right. I don't think that I would forget quite the pattern of those wrinkles. And he smiles. And it doesn't quite reach his eyes. It is very much a shark's smile.
But if a breath like yours, man, I don't think I can forget that neither. Clearly, I've never met. I know fish is a delicacy, but come on, man.
And he takes a step back, and his smile grows just a little bit terse. You're lucky my business tonight isn't with you. And he will start to turn back to Astrid. And if no one stops her, she will hand him a couple of silver, and he will turn and start back down the road on his way from whence he came.
I don't stop the individual, but I will say in Elvish, have a pleasant and safe night as he's walking away.
And he just, gives you a little grin, a flourishing little bow, and then he turns on his heel and continues.
Inside, I'm fumigating.
And so is Bjorn. He actually looks like he's about ready to throw his stuff down and go after this guy. And as a matter of fact, he does. He throws down his bag and he starts marching across the sand.
Can Hassan and I see each other?
Yes.
All right, I want to point to him and kind of just kind of give him the signal we're gonna follow those guys, and then I want to start to follow the red coated or red vested elf.
We're following.
Okay.
Damn.
Those who are stealth.
You know I'm here already. I mean, being
Okay.
sneaky about it is kind of pointless at this for me.
I need to
Ooh,
get
that one's even
myself some
better.
armor that doesn't fucking suck at this.
All right. So I have got Hasid and Tristan following in stealth, and Klaus following in the open. Gelthor, Raziel, what are you doing?
So Astrid was the one that we talked to in the bar, correct?
Yes.
So she was basically like, all right, we want you to observe that
Mm-hmm.
I have to pay this guy. So I'm looking to see their reactions as, what's going on, before I decide to, do anything in particular. I'm not going to let Klaus get too far away, but at the moment, I'm staying put.
Okay. She's giving you a bit of a fretting look and starting after Bjorn. But he's speed walking, so he's losing her pretty quickly. However, the half-elf fellow seems to be going at this very slow pace, like he hasn't a care in the world, so it won't take more than a round for Bjorn to catch up with him.
Raziel, what are you doing?
Kind of torn with everybody splitting.
Pretty
And
Right now, I'm
torn
not.
inside
I'm the
too.
only one not having done anything. So,
And
you do what you want to do, and if that pulls me in, I'm in.
I'm still fairly certain that from the initial walk up that I was not noticed. I'm going to continue to keep an eye. I feel like I'm kind of far enough back that I can, have a wide view of what's happening as people are spreading out. And I'm just looking to see where the trouble's going to start.
Okay. It doesn't take you long. The very second Bjorn catches up with this guy, he's gonna grab him by the shoulder and haul off and punch him in the face. And he staggers back and sort of bleeds down his chin a little bit, and he's just looking at this younger adventurer like it hadn't occurred to him at all that somebody might do that, and he's reaching for a weapon.
I pull back, Bjorn, and be like, there are times when we gotta choose our battles, and sometimes you don't want to bite off more than you can chew. I'm still.
Make a persuasion check.
Oh, come on, I'm sorry, Robin.
Oh.
I rolled a 4, but I treat it as a 10. So that's gonna be a 21.
Okay. So he actually does seem to calm down a little bit, and holding his gloved hand to his nose, this half elf is just like, you can tell by looking around his eyes that he is grinning. This manic grin. And he starts to pull off his other glove.
Pulling off his other glove.
Yeah, because it's, if you throw your glove at someone else's feet, that is challenging them. And just throwing down the gauntlet, that's where that phrase comes from.
I respond to and I'm man, this is probably the stupidest thing I'm gonna do, but as far as he knows, it's just me having a tussy with him, if you will. I look at the glove, look at him, and say, the only dispute I have is with Lucas. You tell him that. Get out of here, lapdog.
Now you're
And
just
he's-
poking it.
Like, intense eye contact for a moment. And he lowers his hand, and like his nose is still bleeding like a faucet, and he grins, and it's getting in his teeth, and he doesn't seem to care at all. And he says, "As you wish, Klaus." And he'll turn and go.
I was giving him the meanest, like, stink eye I can possibly give.
Another thing that should be noted about throwing down the gauntlet is that once it has been thrown down, anyone can pick it up.
Got it.
So you understand that you never introduced yourself and you used your name.
Does oh, go ahead.
I'm screaming all kinds of fuck in my stomach right now. Why you make these games, Robin? All right.
So with throwing down the gauntlet, does putting down a challenge and picking up a challenge bypass all the laws and allow like single combat? Or
No.
Okay.
It used to. That's the old way the law was. You can get in big trouble for being caught doing that now.
Okay, that's what I was leaning towards, but I wanted to make sure.
So this guy is now walking away.
He is.
Bjorn is backed off.
He's calming down slowly. He still looks extremely angry, but he's taking deep breaths and, you know, doing the tricks the priestesses taught him when he was a kid. Like,
I walked Bjorn back to the group.
I cannot stand that guy. I think I broke his nose. I'm not sorry. I'm not going to apologize.
Oh no, he was a total tool. Like, he was a total tool. Good right hook.
I'll come out of the woods and say, who was that guy, and why are we here watching this transaction?
His name was Evander, and he's just kind of the worst person that we know, Lessa says, and she folds her arms and kind of like leans against Astrid's leg. All I know is Serendipity was keeping eyes on him, and I'm sorry. I didn't mean... It's just that he was the one that she was watching before.
With that, if we're together in a group or whatever,
Yes.
I'll cast calm emotions around this real fast, so we can.
Oh yeah.
Get
I'm gonna
go
roll a
for it.
saving
I
throw
was
on
gonna say, is that
this.
a wisdom saving throw?
It's a charisma.
Charisma?
Definitely.
Oh, crap, that's not better.
I mean, anyone that wants to not be affected by this calm emotions things, I'm okay with. I'm only targeting the group, the youngins, if you will, so we can get accurate information.
Astrid,
And if they wish, And if they wish to, the spell says like they can choose to succeed if they want to, but if they're like resisting, it's going to be a 16 charisma. So
Totally mellow.
None of them try to resist it. You are using magic, and magic is a resource, and they seem not to want to let it go to waste. So, Astrid does turn to you, and she says, "I didn't just tell you because I don't know anything about that guy. He just shows up, and I don't know what she knew she didn't get the chance to tell us. So, if you're going to be looking into this, I wanted you to see it firsthand. I wanted you to get a read on him, because me telling you about it isn't the same thing."
absolutely. You know the group he runs with, right?
No, I wasn't tailing him. Dipper was.
That
He
sounds
works-
to me like we should be tailing him. Not sure what we're doing waiting here.
He works for one Red Lucas, and he's not someone you want to be caught up with.
You know, we've heard that before. Just, it's
How
the
did
thing
you
that
get mixed
everybody's
up?
always, what?
How did you get mixed up with him?
Well, we took a job, and it was more or less watch that guy find out what he's doing and see if he was plotting against our employer. And I don't know, I mean, like, she was just the quiet one, so, you know, it seemed like a natural fit.
And now you have to pay him every so often.
He's come by since what happened to her. He basically pulled the thread and found us on the other end, and he's got people. It's not just him. We don't want an open war with this guy, but we got to do something about him, right?
It's how Lucas maintains control of information. Also, how he's able to maintain a power grasp, even though he works from the shadows. You just got caught up in his web. That's all.
So
Is
do
it
you
that
know?
it stings that it wasn't even personal?
Mhm.
And she looks to Hasid.
Klaus, do you know Red Lucas personally, or just the name?
I definitely know this person with interactions in my past.
Okay.
In fact, he's the reason why I retired from being a negotiator of the city.
All right. So go on.
Who hired you, and what was the job?
It was just somebody down in the Alchemist Guild. We didn't have every detail of what was going on because discretion and privacy were extremely important to this client. And at the time, we were thinking maybe we didn't need all the details because it was a simple job, and I don't think that's a mistake we're ever going to make again.
Kind of look back at the rest of the group and say, real rookie move, not looking into the contractor, but something to learn from.
Simple jobs tend to be the most complicated in the long run.
Right.
And you can sort of see a little paradigm shift here where they were just kind of looking at you guys as washed up old men. They're sort of starting to see that you really do know what you're doing.
Okay, so Dip got herself in something deep. I'm gonna look to Klaus. So do we just find this Red Lucas and knock his head in and get some answers? Or is it deeper than that?
It's a little bit deeper than that. if I'm sorry, I forgot the individual's name. The tool that was just here.
The tool.
Assander.
Asander.
Yes.
The best bet we will want to do is catch Asander off guard and get as much information from him as possible through various means. If you know what I'm saying. Tristan.
When we're
Yeah.
done here, we could try to track his blood trail.
I think that's the best bet. Probably
Mhm.
should go sooner rather than later before we lose it.
Yeah.
He's one of Red Lucas's trusted people on the ground. Not going to be easy to break.
Well,
There's ways.
yeah.
I didn't say it was impossible.
Just a challenge. I'm gonna kind of give Raziel a bit of like a knowing look, like grin. Like we've been around this build before.
I think you'd actually get just in a situation like this, the most you can expect from Raziel, which is just like one of those half smiles, like a little bit of a smirk. Like he knows what you mean.
Mm-hmm.
Ross is finding it hard to smile and be as jovial as everybody else. But he will say for certainties, be like, look, normally I wouldn't knock in the skull of this fellow as well, but an upfront confrontation when he's expecting one, not the wisest.
Well, I understand discretion. I know that's the route we're going to go, but I could still have some fun while we're doing it.
What do you recommend, Klaus?
You know what? My way hasn't worked all these years. And when I'm with you guys, I think we can put together an interesting think tank. As I turn over to Tristan, I have old news to settle, but you have new news to settle. I'll take your point.
Yeah.
I think we track him. We see where he goes.
Agreed.
See who he's working with directly. Maybe he's not the one we want to crack. But he can lead us to the one we want to crack. Oh, if we're lucky, lead us right to Red Lucas.
That's a wise suggestion.
All right.
I'm for it.
And with that, that is where I'm going to leave you for the night. Thank you guys so much for playing. This game is a blast.
Thank
every
you.
time.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for running it for us.
I've
Highly
never
rant.
been more mad at not alive people.
I spent so I spent so much. I was quiet both as me and as Raziel when the gauntlet was thrown, just going, "Don't pick it up! Don't pick it up! Don't pick it up!" I thought Klaus slash Carlos was going to pick up that gauntlet.
I was
No.
waiting for the guy to pull a weapon, and then I was going to try to shoot it out of his hand.
Oh yeah.
I just wanted to get this NPC out of here like, dog, look, we don't want this smoke right now.
I just love that I spent 2 days procuring all of these special night clothes, and first stealth check, we're immediately in the open.
Right.
Not all of
I would
you.
like to point out,
Half of
if I
us.
was an actual ranger, we could have had pass without trace.
There was a part of me that honestly expected you guys to kill this guy, and like this is just an example of like older adventurers being older and wiser and not doing that. So
It's way more advantageous to track him down.
Mhm. If he had given me reason to, like anything that made me feel like he knew where my daughter was at, I would have immediately. But Didn't have
That's why I
that.
was going for a hand shot, not a headshot.
Right.
If he's coming down to the beach to pick up
Thank you.
payment, he's not as important as. At least I'm thinking he's not as important. He's a
Right.
hand of the operation. We need to find somebody more important.
I'm gonna be honest. This guy got me. This guy got Klaus and Carlos a little rattled. So I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm like,
Well, I mean, that's what NPCs are there to do. Like, they gotta evoke that emotion and draw you in.
Exactly. No, that was good. That's good. Like start, and I agree. We showed the interactions, like the wisdom of people, like seasoned adventurers instead
Showed
of like,
restraint.
yeah.
not for role
What's wrong
playing
with us?
this because I don't
What's
have
wrong
that
with us?
wisdom in real life.
I can't wait for us to catch someone because one of my ideals is there's a spark of good in everyone, and I'm excited to tear them apart and try and find it.
You just have to torture them long enough.
I like to think that Raziel's stand back and wait and see approach is less about wisdom and more about his leg really hurts and he just doesn't want to move if he doesn't have to.
I like that.
It's like it's a little bit of me in this character where it's like, please don't make me have to get up because I don't want to, and if I do get up, then it's gonna be a thing.
I like that.
Yep.
That's
I feel that. I feel that at times. So I would say, thanks, Robin, for running another amazing game as usual. Thank you to the awesome people that are playing here. To those of you out there watching, thanks a lot. Don't forget to check the link down in the description, not only for that link to Easy Roller Dice, but to where you can find all these amazing people when they're not over here on this particular stream. So,
Yeah.
as a reminder, Dave is at Gen Con, so if you happen to be out that direction, you can begin trying to track him down. And because of that, we will not be here to stream on Sunday night for our regular live chat. But we should be back in time for us to join Carlos's game for the next episode of Wormhole. So
All right.
until next time, stay nerdy.
Stay nerdy.
Stay nerdy.